I'm going to roll with Jay Williams. Jay
Okay.
Williams. He picked Texas Tech versus Virginia. I had Virginia winning this game. I thought they'd pull it out, even though I was rooting for Auburn, because I just didn't want to see Virginia. And I don't want to see Texas Tech for the same reason. I think that these two teams are elite defensively. They know how to shut teams down. Texas Tech, that defensive effort they put forth against Michigan State was something special to behold. I'm here to tell you right now, the way they keyed in on Cassius Winston and those boys, it was something special. I like their height. I like their athleticism. I like the fact that they go after it. I look at Virginia and I say to myself, okay, you know, Kyle Guy, he can make some shots, obviously. Ty Jerome, Hunter as well. But I'm just of the mindset that when I looked at Texas Tech play defense the way that they did against Michigan State, I'm just going to think that they're going to do the same to Virginia tonight. Unfortunately, I expect a very ugly, low-scoring game that's going to be in the 50s, maybe barely. But I could see Texas Tech winning this encounter somewhere along the lines of 55-51 to win the national title.
Yeah, take your pick here. I'm going to go with Virginia. Look, maybe part of it is like a ACC versus Big 12 bias, right? I just think football, like everyone else, when you think about Big 12, I think it's one of the reasons Texas Tech has been overlooked. Texas Tech won to get here more impressively. In one way, they were more dominant. In another way, Virginia had to come up with a really, in high pressurized moments, you know, they had to ice free throws, get up and ice free throws with the game on the line. When you have a player do that, it also says something about the team, I think. I also think Virginia just has this depth at guard where they have like 4 different guys, Jay, who I would trust in a big moment, who look like they could really play. So there's not a dime's worth of difference to me between them. My nickel goes to Virginia, and I'll pick them.
Yeah, I think you could take that dime and nickel and flip it, and you'd get a different result every time who's going to win. Every time these teams played, it would be a coin flip. I tend to favor Virginia in this game for one reason, and that is when Texas Tech played against Michigan State, they switched every screen and every exchange. And Michigan State runs a lot of ball screen action, and they like to post up a lot. That's not the way Virginia plays. I don't think they're going to run a lot of ball screens. I think they're going to run their offense. They call it sides. It's a mover-blocker offense where their big guys are essentially screeners for the other 3 cutters. And I think they're going to be able to take advantage of some of the mismatches that come up if Texas Tech decides to switch. And I think the key player is going to be Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome's coming off a 21-point game where he had 9 rebounds and 6 assists against Auburn. I think he's going to be the hardest player for Texas Tech to guard, and I think Virginia is going to wind up squeaking this one out and having maybe the greatest turnaround of sort of being the Neil Armstrong of losing to a 16 seed. It's the first time it's ever happened, maybe the only time. And they're going to turn around and squeak out a national championship the year after.
Clark, DeAndre Hunter, there's so many. Not only, you mentioned Ty Jerome, and none of those guys were the guys who hit the 3 straight free throws with the game on the line. And I think maybe that's the difference.
Well, let me
Jay,
tell you what I think the
ahead,
difference
Stephen.
is going to be. I don't see Culver having another game like he did in the semifinal. I mean, he finished with 10 points. He hit a big-time 3 near the end, but he struggled miserably throughout the game. I don't see that happening second go-round. This is a guy that we just had a discussion the other day as to whether or not he was going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. National championship out on the line. I think that whatever butterflies, whatever you want to call it, nerves or whatever, that were plaguing him in the semifinal, I think 48 hours later, he's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be a duplicate performance. I think Virginia's going to have to step up and deal with that brother. And I don't think it's going to happen tonight. Mooney's going to do his thing as well, but I think Culver is going to show up, and he's going to show up big time tonight to deliver a national championship for Texas Tech.
Jay, let me ask you this. Do you think having 2 defensive teams in the national title game is actually a bad thing for college basketball?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm one of those that believes that every year the 2 teams in the championship game earn their way there. If you don't want defensive teams, beat them. But these teams are pretty good offensively, too. Virginia's been one of the most efficient offensive teams all season long, and Texas Tech, probably since the start of February, has been one of the best offensive teams in the country. Their defense is their calling card. So the folks that want to say defense wins championships, go ahead. I mean, there's a team that wins every year. But there's never been a team that's won a championship that hasn't been good defensively. but there's never been a team that's won a championship in college basketball that hasn't been good on the offensive end as well. So I think both these teams, I don't think this matters. It's kind of like, do you want to see the Yankees and the Dodgers every year in the World Series, or do you want to see Duke and Carolina every year in this? It's going to be great no matter who's playing in it, and it's going to be great tonight.
Well, first of all, I'm unapologetically, I would have loved to have seen Duke and North Carolina in the finals, and it wasn't just because I picked them to meet there. I think it's the greatest rivalry in all of sports. That's number one. Number two, Jay, I don't even think you can deny this. Even though this defensive matchup is not, aesthetically speaking, it's not what I would want, I'm not apologizing for that, but I understand they both earned their way there. And you can't sit up there and say college basketball loses because they're there. I do think college basketball loses something with Zion not being there. I tell you that much, because this brother was box office. Yeah. And the fact that you don't get to see him tonight, could you imagine if he were playing tonight? What everybody would be looking forward to? It would have been something special. I'm telling you that right now.
I think you're absolutely right, and the ratings reflect that. So the ratings for the Elite Eight games were gigantic. They have not been the same for the Final Four. And look, this will be one of the lower-rated games we've had in a while, especially the one that's on network television. It tends to vary. It tends to be lower naturally when it's on cable. But to me, that's not going to change the fact that that's sort of the casual fan. And I don't think it's a problem for the quality of play or the quality of game we're going to have. For people that love the game, this is going to be as good as anything.